Beloved chosen one, listen carefully. Heaven has just interrupted your chaos. Everything around you that felt like noise, confusion, and delay was not meant to destroy you, but to get your attention. God is not punishing you. He is preparing you. You've been walking through days where the silence of heaven felt deafening, where every prayer echoed back with no answer. But tonight, heaven has pressed pause on everything just to speak directly to your heart. Your season of struggle is coming to an end. You are not hearing this by accident. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. Every battle that seemed to strip you down was actually heaven's forge, shaping you for something far greater. You thought you were breaking, but you were being remade. Every tear you shed was counted. Every heartbreak was recorded. You were never invisible to God. Even when you felt unseen by people, there were nights you whispered, "God, where are you?" and heard nothing. But silence does not mean absence. It means strategy. Heaven was not ignoring you, it was working behind the veil. The reason the warfare intensified was because the enemy saw what was coming next: your emergence, your restoration, your release. Beloved, chosen one, you've been faithful in the quiet places. You didn't quit when the pain got louder. You didn't give up when doors slammed shut. You stood there, trembling but still praying. You kept forgiving. You kept giving. You kept believing even when you were exhausted. And now, heaven is rewarding what the world ignored. Listen, God is about to break cycles that have held you bound for years. Emotional patterns, financial drought, loneliness, fear, all of it is bowing to the authority of the one who called you. You are entering a divine reset. The suffering that felt endless is reaching its final page. The same hand that allowed the storm is now commanding peace. You are about to witness divine interruptions, sudden favor, unexpected provision, supernatural peace. The places that once echoed with loss will soon overflow with restoration. Every broken connection will make sense in this light. For heaven never removes without the intent to replace with something higher, purer, and lasting. The shift will be undeniable. You will sense a sacred acceleration around you, answers coming quicker, burdens lifting faster, clarity breaking through confusion. God is rewriting your timeline, redeeming wasted years, turning your pain into prophecy. What once hurt you will now herald your breakthrough, and your story will carry the fragrance of victory. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 8, verse 26, "Why are you afraid, O you of little faith?" Then he rose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. Yes, chosen one, that calm is coming to your life. The waves that once terrified you will now testify about you. You will stand upon the very waters that tried to drown you. The people who mocked your faith will see your restoration. The storm was never your enemy. It was your introduction to divine authority. You learned who you truly are in the midst of the chaos, one who carries heaven's presence. Right now, the Spirit of God is saying, enough. Enough tears. Enough anxiety. Enough fear of tomorrow. Heaven has issued a divine order for your peace to return. You will feel it first in your spirit, a lifting, a stillness, a sense that something is shifting around you. Don't question it. Receive it. Your heart will rest again. Every delay is being dismantled. The heavens are aligning in your favor. Opportunities you thought were lost will come back around. This time, wrapped in favor. You are being repositioned, not in the same place, not with the same people, but in the divine flow that fits your calling. Chosen one, I see you standing at the threshold of breakthrough. You have carried much, but you will not carry this pain into the next chapter. This is the season where struggle bows to glory, where ashes turn to beauty, and where mourning transforms into dancing. Heaven has already declared it. Your shift begins now. The same God who brought you through every storm before is the same God who will crown you with peace now. Lift your head. Straighten your spine. You are not defeated. You are being defined. The oil that comes from crushing is flowing over your life. You are about to see that all of it, the rejection, the delay, the heartbreak, was heaven's training ground for royalty. If you can feel this stirring in your spirit, if you know deep down this word is for you, pause right now. Take a breath. Let your heart respond to heaven. Comment below the prophetic number 777, a number of divine completion, as a declaration that your season of struggle is ending and your chapter of glory begins. And before you leave, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another word sent from heaven to your heart. Because this is only the beginning of what God is about to do in your life. The next wave isn't a storm, it's your harvest. Beloved chosen one, take a deep breath. The weight you've been carrying has not gone unnoticed by heaven. You've been walking through a long valley where every step felt heavier than the last. The world saw your smile, but heaven saw your struggle. You've carried wounds that no one clapped for, responsibilities that no one thanked you for, and burdens that would have broken others. Yet here you are still standing. Every sleepless night, every silent tear, every God I don't understand has been counted. You've been through fires that scorched your hope, through disappointments that tried to suffocate your faith. There were days when even breathing felt like an act of courage. You kept showing up when your strength was gone. You fought battles in your mind that no one else could see. You wore endurance like invisible armor, holding yourself together with nothing but faith and prayer. Listen, chosen one, those struggles were never wasted. The pain you endured was not a punishment, it was a process. God was refining you, stripping away what couldn't go with you into your next level. The reason it felt like everything was being taken from you was because heaven was making room for something greater. You couldn't stay where you were. The anointing on your life demanded growth. You've wondered, why me? Lord, why must I be the one to carry so much? Because you were chosen to carry a legacy of resilience. You were trusted with pain because you could transform it into power. Every scar on your heart is a testimony written in invisible ink, proof that even in darkness, grace still spoke your name. When others broke under pressure, you became unbreakable. When doors closed, you learned to build your own. You discovered a strength that could only be born in struggle. That's why the enemy fought you so hard. He saw what would rise from the ashes of your suffering. He knew that once you discovered who you truly are, you would become unstoppable. There's a reason you felt the weight increase right before breakthrough. Pressure always comes before birthing, just as the earth trembles before it releases new life. Your spirit has been trembling because something divine is emerging. You are being reborn into strength, wisdom, and authority you didn't know you had. You see, God doesn't waste pain. Every heartbreak, every rejection, Every delay has been turned into a weapon in your spiritual arsenal. The people who left you didn't derail your destiny, they defined it. The seasons that felt barren were the soil where your faith grew roots. You are stronger now, wiser now, more aware of who you are and whose you are. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Your night has been long. Yes, but morning is coming. The dawn of restoration is already breaking through your horizon. What once seemed unending will suddenly shift. The heaviness that sat on your chest will lift, replaced by peace that cannot be explained. You will laugh again, not a fragile, forced laughter, but one born of true freedom. There will be moments soon when tears fall again, but this time from gratitude, not grief. You'll stand in the same places where you once broke and realize you've been healed. Heaven is rebuilding what the storm tried to scatter, and nothing will remain lost. You will wake up one morning and sense it clearly. The weight is gone. What once chained your heart now fuels your testimony. You'll walk lighter, breathe easier, and move with a quiet confidence that only comes from surviving divine fire. The glory ahead will eclipse every shadow. God is removing the residue of old pain. You will no longer define yourself by what broke you, but by what built you. Every burden is about to make sense. The lessons hidden in your losses will now guide you into divine purpose. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are right on heaven's schedule. Remember, this gold is not proven in comfort, it is proven in fire. And you, chosen one, have been through the fire long enough. You are coming out purified, shining, carrying the reflection of God's glory upon you. The very weight that almost crushed you is now your crown. You'll look back soon and realize that nothing was wasted. The pain taught you empathy. The rejection taught you discernment. The waiting taught you patience. And the silence taught you to listen for God's whisper. You have become a vessel fit for divine assignment, a carrier of light forged in darkness. So lift your head, chosen one. The weight you've been carrying was never meant to last forever. Heaven is shifting the burden off your shoulders. You are stepping into a lighter season, one filled with peace, purpose, and clarity. What once made you weep will now make you worship. The same hands that held you through the storm are now lifting you into victory. Your season of endurance is transforming into a season of elevation. You will no longer just survive, you will soar. Chosen one. Listen closely. There was never a moment when heaven lost sight of you. You may have felt invisible, overlooked, or forgotten. But the truth is, you have been hidden in plain sight. God covered you, not to punish you, but to protect what He placed inside you. The world thought your silence was defeat, but heaven knew it was strategy. You've watched others rise while you remained unseen, wondering why doors didn't open for you. You compared your pace to theirs, not realizing that God was keeping you from premature exposure. You were never behind, you were being preserved. The same God who hid David in the fields before the palace and Esther in the shadows before the throne has been hiding you. Heaven does not rush masterpieces. What God is building in you required a hidden season, a time when you were stripped of applause, distractions, and noise. You've been in divine obscurity because greatness grows in silence. While others were seen, you were being strengthened. While others were celebrated, You were being shaped. There were times you felt isolated. But solitude has been sacred. In the quiet, God removed the counterfeit voices that confused your purpose. He needed you to hear Him clearly, without interference. Every unanswered call, every closed connection, every friendship that faded, these were not losses. They were divine separations. You were never being left behind. You were being led away. Heaven whispered, "Be still," not to stop your progress, but to redirect your path. The waiting was your protection. The stillness was your shield. You wanted to be seen, but God wanted you to be strong first, because what's coming next requires roots that can withstand exposure. The world measures visibility as success, but heaven measures readiness. You were never meant to fit in because you were designed to stand out. That's why rejection hurt. It was divine redirection. Every time you tried to fit into spaces that could not hold your calling, God gently pulled you out. He wasn't denying you, He was defining you. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 8. The Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Beloved chosen one, the hiding place is about to open. The very silence that frustrated you is the soil where your next season was planted. The waiting is ending, and revelation is rising. You will soon understand why things had to be delayed, why people had to walk away, why God seemed quiet. The pieces will come together, and what once felt like punishment will reveal itself as preservation. Do not despise the cave seasons. They are where kings and queens are forged. Even when no one clapped for you, heaven took note of your faithfulness. You prayed when no one knew your name. You worshipped when no one was watching. You believed when believing hurt. That's why you are about to step into visibility, not for validation, but for assignment. Your light is about to be uncovered. But this time, it won't flicker under pressure. You will carry the weight of your calling with grace, because it was tested in secret. God has been polishing you, molding you, aligning every detail so that when He unveils you, no one can take the credit but Him. Chosen one, hear this. What's next will not require striving. You won't have to beg for recognition or force opportunities. The same God who called you into hiding is now calling you into unveiling. The right people will find you. The right doors will open. The right moments will unfold naturally, divinely, perfectly on time. Everything that felt delayed is actually on divine schedule. You are moving from hiddenness to holiness, from preparation to purpose. The silence that once suffocated you is now your sanctuary. It taught you to depend on God alone. That's why you'll never lose yourself again in crowds or applause. Your identity is anchored in the one who called you, not in the ones who noticed you. If your heart feels this truth, if you know you've been hidden but not forgotten, then type these words below: I am seen. Say it. Chosen one. Write it as a prophetic act. Declare it in faith. Because heaven is confirming this, you are seen by God, chosen by heaven, and protected by purpose. The isolation was never evidence of absence, it was evidence of anointing. When you type it, you're not just writing words, you're agreeing with heaven's timing. You're saying, God, I trust you even when I don't understand. I trust your silence. I trust your process. And I trust that my unveiling will glorify you. This is your moment of awakening. You are no longer hiding out of fear. You are being revealed through favor. And when you emerge, you won't need to explain where you've been. Your light will speak for itself. Chosen one. The breaking that built you was never meant to destroy you. Every time life shattered your expectations, every time something you depended on collapsed beneath your feet, heaven was rebuilding the foundation beneath your soul. You were not being punished. You were being purified. You were not being broken apart. You were being broken open so that what was divine within you could finally emerge. There are moments when God answers prayers by dismantling everything that's unstable. You prayed for strength, so He sent storms. You asked for wisdom, so He sent silence. You begged for clarity, so He removed distractions disguised as comfort. It didn't look like love, but it was. For love, in its truest form, will not let you settle in spaces too small for your destiny. Chosen one. You didn't fail. The structure around you did. The friendships that crumbled. The opportunities that slipped away. The dreams that died were never your undoing. They were divine pruning. God was removing what could not carry the weight of your future. Every heartbreak was a holy reconstruction. You were being remade to fit a higher calling. There's beauty in the breaking, though it rarely feels that way. When the vessel cracks, light finds its way in. When the walls of certainty collapse, faith takes its first breath. The pain that once blinded you is now teaching you to see. You are not the same person who began this journey. Your spirit has expanded. Your discernment has deepened. Your strength has been sanctified. In the furnace of affliction, you found the heartbeat of God. When all else failed, His voice remained steady. Even in your darkest nights, there was still a whisper saying, "I'm not done with you yet." That whisper carried you through the moments you thought would end you. The fire refined you, it did not consume you. In that furnace, chosen one, your spirit learned endurance beyond human limits. You found faith not as a concept, but as oxygen breathing it when nothing else sustained you. The whisper became your anchor, the unseen hand your guide, and every ember that once burned you now glows with divine remembrance and victory. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 29, verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Those words are not distant promises. They are the present reality of heaven over your life. Every shattered dream was a doorway into something divine. God was not taking from you, He was trading what was temporary for what is eternal. The job, the relationship, the opportunity that fell apart had to end. Because what's ahead requires a purer version of you. Do you see it now? The breaking did not erase your identity, it revealed it. In your weakness, you discovered how strong His grace truly is. In your loss, you learned the language of faith. When everything else fell away, you realized that His presence was enough. That revelation is priceless. Chosen one. It's what turns survivors into servants, and servants into soldiers. You may still carry the marks of what hurt you, but even scars can shine when touched by glory. Those marks are reminders of mercy, proof that pain met purpose and purpose prevailed. You are not defined by what broke you, but by what built you afterward. Your resilience is sacred. It tells the world that God's power is greater than human pain. Do not resent the seasons of breaking. They are where heaven proves its loyalty. You were never abandoned in the rubble. Even when you didn't see him, God was working behind the scenes, rearranging your steps so that every loss would lead to redemption. The ground that once represented grief will soon yield new growth. You are stepping out of the ashes, carrying wisdom that cannot be taught in comfort. You now understand that not all endings are tragedies. Some are transformations. You didn't lose your story. You gained authority. Now, when others face storms, your testimony will be their lifeline. You will speak peace into chaos because you've seen the other side of breaking. And though your path has been marked by pain, your future will be marked by promise. God never allows breaking without building. He never allows pain without purpose. You were never forgotten during the fracture. You were being fitted for favor. So, lift your gaze. Chosen one, let gratitude rise where grief once ruled. The tears you shed are now watering the seeds of restoration. What once felt like the end was only the middle, the divine setup before the unveiling. Heaven is not rebuilding the old version of you. It's constructing something entirely new. Something radiant. Something unstoppable. Soon, you will look back and thank God for the breaking. You'll realize it was the only way to become unshakable. For what's rebuilt by heaven cannot be broken by man. Chosen one. The winds are shifting. Can you feel it? The season that tried to bury you is now being reversed before your eyes. Heaven is rearranging the pieces, turning the broken puzzle of your past into a masterpiece of divine symmetry. What was meant for your downfall is about to become the foundation for your destiny. Every disappointment is transforming into direction. Every closed door was not rejection, it was redirection. You see, God was never denying you, He was rerouting you. Like a river that carves its way through stone. The pressure that once felt unbearable was forming a new path for living water to flow through your life. You have been walking through narrow passages, but those walls are widening now into places of freedom. Beloved chosen one, this is what divine reversal looks like. The valley that humbled you will soon echo with victory. The tables are turning not by your effort, but by divine command. The same situations that left you in tears will soon leave you in awe. You will not chase what belongs to you. Heaven is bringing it to your doorstep. There were moments you thought your prayers bounced back unanswered, but heaven was storing them like seeds. Each tear you shed watered the soil of your next blessing. Now, in this divine season, those hidden seeds are breaking through the ground. The harvest is not coming, it has already begun. You will see it in small surprises, quiet breakthroughs, and gentle confirmations that whisper, "I never forgot you." According to what is revealed in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 7, "Instead of your shame, you shall have double honor, and instead of confusion, they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess double. Everlasting joy shall be theirs." The God of reversal is faithful. He restores what time, pain, and people thought they had stolen. He rewrites stories that the world stamped finished. You are living proof that heaven always has the final word. Your pain is becoming prophecy. Your tears are turning to testimony. And your delay is transforming into divine acceleration. Chosen one, think of your life like a tapestry. From the backside, it looks chaotic, threads tangled, patterns unclear, colors clashing, but turn it over, and suddenly everything makes sense. The same thread that seemed meaningless in the dark reveals a beautiful pattern under light. That's what God is doing with your story. He's turning it around so you can finally see the masterpiece from heaven's perspective. Some of you have been standing at the edge of breakthrough, feeling weary, wondering if it's really coming. You've seen little progress and started to question your own worth. But hear this, the delay was never denial. God was waiting for the right alignment. Like an artist waiting for the perfect stroke to complete the painting, heaven was preparing the exact moment to reveal your restoration. When you least expect it, favor will find you. It will not be loud or dramatic. It will be peaceful, effortless, undeniable. Conversations will shift. Hearts will soften. Opportunities will open. You'll realize that while you were fighting to survive, heaven was working behind the scenes to reverse the story. This divine reversal won't just bless you, it will bless those connected to you. Your restoration will become a ripple effect. Family members will witness your comeback and find hope for their own. Friends who doubted your endurance will marvel at your glow. You will become the living sermon of what it means to trust through trials. And as you rise, do not forget to keep your heart soft. Remember where you came from. Remember the nights of wrestling, the prayers whispered through tears, the faith that held you together. Let humility be your crown. For what God gives you now is not just a reward, it's a responsibility to love deeper, forgive quicker, and give freely. That's why, as you receive this word, take a small but sacred action. Like this message, if it resonates with the fire in your spirit, share it so someone else wandering in their valley might glimpse their dawn. Subscribe if you want to keep walking this journey of divine revelation together, so these moments of heaven's voice never pass you by. And if you feel led, donate not out of pressure, but out of gratitude to help keep this flow of light reaching more souls in the shadows. Every seed you sow becomes another voice of hope for someone who needs to hear. Your struggle is ending. You are not paying for a blessing, you are participating in one. Every offering, every share, every act of kindness is a way of saying, God, I remember when you reversed my pain. Let my giving become someone else's turning point. Chosen one, stand tall. You are stepping into divine reversal. You are walking out of ashes and into beauty, out of mourning and into dancing, out of loss and into legacy. Heaven has rewritten your ending, and joy is the ink. Chosen one, can you feel it? The air around you shifting, the unseen stirring in the spirit. The winds of heaven are moving, carrying whispers of renewal and change. You've walked through seasons that felt endless, through storms that left you trembling. But now there is movement in the unseen realm. The prophetic winds of change are beginning to blow across your life. What once felt stagnant will soon surge with divine momentum. Doors that refuse to open will swing wide without force. The atmosphere around you is responding to your faith. You may not see it yet, but everything heavy is beginning to lift. God is rearranging your circumstances in ways that only make sense in hindsight. The waiting you endured is becoming the wind that propels you forward. Beloved, every storm has an assignment. The winds that once pushed against you are now turning to push you forward. The very opposition that tried to break you is becoming the current that carries you into purpose. Don't resist the shift, embrace it. Heaven is reordering your steps, aligning divine appointments, and positioning you for what eyes have not seen. You may have noticed small signs lately, sudden peace in places that once caused panic, unexpected favor, opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Heaven is whispering. It's time. The struggle has expired. The delay has served its purpose. Now comes the season of divine release. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 37, verse 5. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will act. Yes, chosen one, He will act. He will not leave you in limbo. You have trusted Him when nothing made sense. And now He is rewarding your endurance. You are about to see divine movement where you once saw only stillness. The wind of God is blowing away confusion, clearing your vision, and revealing paths that were hidden before. Change rarely feels comfortable, but it always carries purpose. Like the shifting of seasons, transformation requires release. Trees don't mourn when they lose their leaves, they make room for new life. In the same way, God is asking you to let go of what no longer carries life. Old mindsets, past hurts, expired assignments, release them into the wind. The moment you do, you'll feel lighter, freer, and ready for what's next. The Spirit is saying, do not resist this wind. It is not here to destroy, but to deliver. You will look back and realize that the shaking was not a threat, it was a sign. It meant heaven was moving on your behalf. The things that were taken were never meant to remain. You are being guided into the next chapter, one that's been written in grace and sealed in glory. Sometimes, divine change begins quietly. You won't hear thunder or see lightning. You'll just notice that your heart no longer aches the same way it did. You'll feel peace where pain once lived. You'll sense courage where fear once ruled. That's the wind of heaven doing surgery on your soul. It's subtle, but it's sacred. Chosen one, this is not the time to shrink. This is the moment to stand still and trust the flow of God. Every gust of change is pushing you closer to destiny. The wind is prophetic. It carries messages of alignment, acceleration, and awakening. The people who once doubted you will soon witness the evidence of this transformation. The same way wind shapes the desert dunes, God is reshaping the landscape of your life. Nothing will look the same, yet everything will finally make sense. The things you lost were not wasted, they became seeds for your new season. The same God who calms the storm also commands the wind to carry you into victory. Listen carefully, what's coming next is not another test, but a release, a divine lifting, a breaking of old cycles, a fresh breath over every dry place within you. The prophetic wind is not random, it's responsive. It moves wherever there is faith, and your faith has drawn heaven's attention. You don't have to chase this change, it's already chasing you. You don't have to force open doors, they're already unlocking. You don't have to strive to be seen, heaven is already spotlighting your obedience. All you must do is yield to the wind, trust it, flow with it, move in sync with it. And when you feel this truth resonating in your spirit, when something inside you says, "This is for me," declare it publicly as a prophetic act. Comment below the number 888, a sign of new beginnings and divine renewal. It is not just a number, it is a declaration that you are stepping into fresh favor, fresh strength, and fresh purpose. When you type it, you're saying, "Lord, I surrender to your wind. I'm ready for change. I'm ready for new. You're opening your heart to the divine breeze that brings restoration after the storm. Chosen one. The winds of heaven are here not to scatter you, but to send you. You're not being lost in transition, you're being lifted into transformation. Breathe it in, the shift is happening now. Chosen one. There were seasons when silence surrounded you so thickly that even your prayers seemed to vanish into the dark. You wondered if God still saw you, if heaven had gone quiet, or if perhaps you had somehow fallen off the map of grace. But let this truth settle deep within you now: you were never forsaken. Not for a moment. Every time you wept in secret, every time you forced a smile while your heart trembled, heaven took note. The presence of God has been closer than your own breath. Even when it felt like nothing but emptiness surrounded you, you may have seen stillness, but heaven saw warfare on your behalf. Angels stood guard around you while you slept, holding back what could have crushed you. You thought his silence meant absence, but silence was his shelter. Like a father who watches quietly while his child learns to walk, God stood just beyond your visible reach, ready to catch you if you fell, yet determined to let you grow stronger through the stumble. He allowed distance not to abandon you, but to deepen your discernment. We often think divine love must always feel comforting, but real love, the kind heaven gives, sometimes hides in the shadows so your faith can awaken. It is in that hiddenness that your heart begins to hear what your ears could not. The voice of God is not always thunder. Sometimes it is the quiet pulse that refuses to let you give up. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, the second book, chapter 4, verse 9, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed. Yes, that has been your story. You have been struck, but never destroyed, bruised, but not broken, pressed, but never abandoned. Each blow the world delivered only carved deeper channels for grace to flow through you. What you thought was the end was simply the evidence that you were marked by heaven's protection. When you cried out in confusion, saying, "God, why don't you stop this pain?" He was already standing between you and destruction. You didn't see the danger he diverted, the attacks he deflected, the traps he dismantled before they could reach you. His silence was not indifference, it was intervention. The very breath you're taking now is proof of it. Chosen one, think back on the times you were sure it was over. The times you whispered, "I can't survive this one." Yet here you are, reading this, still breathing, still standing, still carrying faith. That is no small miracle. You didn't make it because you were strong enough. You made it because mercy refused to let you go. God's love is not always loud. Sometimes it is hidden in the stillness of waiting, in the quiet endurance of a weary heart that chooses to keep believing. You didn't hear thunder, but he was there in the heartbeat that kept beating when you wanted to give up. You didn't see lightning, but his light kept flickering inside your chest, saying, "Live." You are living proof that divine silence is not divine absence. You are evidence that even when heaven seems still, grace never stops moving. God has been writing your story in invisible ink lines only revealed when the fire of testing passes over them. Every unanswered prayer, every season of loneliness, every valley of delay was an invisible conversation between your spirit and his. You wanted words, he was giving wisdom. You wanted direction, he was building endurance. And now, As you look back, you will begin to see it how even the detours were protection, how even the disappointments were divine appointments in disguise. You were never fighting alone. The moments you thought you were losing were the moments heaven was winning battles on your behalf. You have been shielded from things you may never know until eternity reveals them. That's how deeply loved you are. Chosen one. Take comfort in this. There is no valley so deep that his presence cannot fill it. No night so dark that his light cannot reach it. He has been with you in every tear, every breath, every tremor of your heart. You are not a forgotten child of God. You are the one he stayed up through the night to defend. And as dawn breaks over this part of your journey, you'll realize something sacred. You didn't lose faith during the silence. Your faith found you. It became a quiet flame that refused to die out. Even when everything else faded, that flame is your proof of belonging. You are still here because he was still there. The next time you feel unseen, remember this truth: hidden does not mean forsaken. Silence does not mean absence. The presence of God is not limited to your ability to sense it. It is steady, constant, unshakable, anchored in love, older than time. Chosen one. You are held, guarded, and guided. The season of silence has served its purpose. You have learned to trust what you cannot trace, to rest in what you cannot see, and to believe even when the heavens feel closed. That kind of faith moves mountains, and heaven is already responding. Chosen one. Every tear you've cried has been sacred. None of them have been wasted, forgotten, or unseen. Heaven has a way of collecting the things the world discards, and your tears are among its most precious treasures. They were not weakness, they were worship. They were the language your spirit spoke when words failed you. You didn't know it then, but each tear was a seed planted in the soil of eternity. You thought they were falling to the ground, but heaven caught every single one. The same tears that once carried your sorrow are now watering your harvest. You will soon see what those silent nights were building. Nothing was lost, everything was sown. Chosen one. Pain has a strange way of revealing what really matters. It strips away illusions, exposes truth, and teaches you to see with spiritual eyes. The tears that once blurred your vision actually cleared it. Through them, you learned to distinguish what was temporary from what was eternal. They softened you without breaking you. They purified the parts of your heart that had become numb. You cried for release, and heaven heard you. You wept over things you could not change, and God was changing you instead. Every time your pillow became an altar, every time your tears fell in prayer, they became rivers that reached the throne of grace. You may not have seen immediate results, but divine response was already in motion. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 56, verse 8. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. What a mystery of mercy to know that the God of the universe keeps record of what broke your heart, that he has never dismissed your grief as small or unnecessary, that even in your most fragile moments, he saw beauty in your vulnerability. You cried not because you were weak, but because you were human and because your soul refused to harden in a world that wounds. Those tears became divine evidence of your faith. They said to heaven, I still believe, even while it hurts. They said to darkness, you can touch my life, but not my hope. And heaven responded to that faith with compassion that cannot fail. There are blessings being birthed right now from the soil of your sorrow. Chosen one. The season of weeping is never permanent. God promised that joy follows morning as surely as dawn follows night. There will come a moment soon when the tears that once carried grief will carry gratitude. You will weep again, but this time out of wonder, out of relief, out of awe at how God turned it all around. Every pain has been transformed into purpose. Every cry has become a calling. You will comfort others not with hollow words, but with holy empathy. You will tell them, "I know how it feels," and your voice will carry healing because it comes from experience, not theory. Your tears have given you authority over sorrow. Sometimes, your tears said what your lips could not. You prayed prayers you didn't even know you were praying. You released emotions you didn't know you had. Heaven understood every drop as divine language. And now, those prayers are returning not as tears, but as testimonies. The God who collects tears also knows how to transform them. He turns them into rain that waters your future. The ground you once soaked in grief will soon bloom with beauty. You'll walk through the same places where you once broke down and realize they've become gardens of grace. What was once your wilderness will become your well. You see, chosen one. Tears are not signs of defeat, they are signs of cleansing. They wash away bitterness, soften the soil of the heart, and make room for hope to take root again. The world may not understand your crying, but heaven celebrates it. Because tears are faith in liquid form. They say, "I still trust you, even in pain." And that trust has not gone unnoticed. Heaven is already responding to your tears with restoration. God is bringing laughter where there was lament, beauty where there was brokenness, clarity where there was confusion. The story that once hurt to tell will soon heal others. The very tears that blurred your sight are turning into lenses of revelation. You are entering the season where tears of pain become tears of praise. You will no longer cry over what you lost, but over what you've gained: wisdom, resilience, empathy, and unshakable faith. Your heart will be lighter, your vision clearer, your spirit stronger. The weeping that endured for a night has done its work. Now joy is on its way. So, wipe your face. Chosen one, lift your eyes. What once broke you is now blessing you. Heaven never wasted a single tear, and soon you'll understand why they had to fall. Chosen one, it's time to rise. The ashes you once sat in are no longer your home. The weight that held you down has lost its authority. You have walked through fire, faced storms, and stood in silence, but now you are stepping into your identity as an overcomer. You were never created merely to survive. You were crafted to conquer. Every battle you faced had a purpose. The sleepless nights, the spiritual warfare, the confusion, all of it forged something within you that cannot be shaken. The enemy thought he was breaking you, but he was building you instead. You didn't just endure the trial, you outlasted it. And in doing so, you discovered that you carry a strength the world cannot explain. The Word of God declares in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11, "And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony." Your testimony is your weapon. Chosen one. The pain you survived is not wasted, it is your proof of victory. Every time you speak of how God brought you through, you release light into dark places. Your story is a sword. your endurance is armor, and your voice carries authority. You have become the embodiment of triumph. Think of how far you've come. The person you used to be would not even recognize the resilience you now carry. You've faced betrayal and learned forgiveness. You've endured loss and found peace. You've been misunderstood, yet you never let bitterness take root. That is divine strength in motion. You didn't just survive the storm, you became the calm after it. This is why you've always felt different. You were not made for mediocrity. You were designed to carry heaven's fire. The same spirit that raised Christ from the dead dwells in you. That means defeat can no longer define you. You've been marked by grace and sealed by purpose. Your very existence disrupts darkness. Chosen one. You are a warrior, not the loud kind who fights with fists, but the quiet kind who fights on their knees. Your prayers shake atmospheres. Your worship breaks chains. Your endurance confuses the enemy, because no matter what comes against you, you still rise. That's what makes you unstoppable. You carry resurrection in your spirit. You've been through enough to know that pain does not end a story. It begins a testimony. You've learned that every no from heaven was really a not yet. You've come to understand that rejection was protection, and isolation was preparation. Now, every scar on your heart tells a story of grace, each one a symbol of how divine mercy held you together. There is a power inside you that even you haven't fully seen yet. It's the same power that turns weakness into worship, wounds into wisdom, and loss into legacy. When you rise from this season, you will not only stand, you will shine. The darkness that once frightened you will flee from the light you carry. You may not realize it, but heaven calls your endurance holy. God saw every time you chose love over anger, faith over fear, patience over panic. Those choices shaped the mantle you now carry, the mantle of the overcomer. It is invisible to the natural eye, but undeniable in the spirit realm. Wherever you go, light follows. And now, as this truth sinks into your heart, let your spirit respond. Type these words below, I rise again. When you write it, you're not just commenting, you're declaring war against everything that tried to bury you. You're saying, I refuse to stay where pain left me. I'm stepping into the strength God built within me. Those 3 words are more than affirmation, they are resurrection language. Say it aloud if you must. Whisper it if your voice trembles. But let heaven hear it, and let darkness know you are not defeated. You are not broken beyond repair. You are the living proof that grace is stronger than grief. Chosen one. This world needs your resilience. Someone else's hope is hidden inside your story. Every time you share your testimony, light enters a new corner of someone's darkness. Your scars become roadmaps for others trying to find their way out. You are not merely healed, you are now a healer through empathy, through presence, through truth. So walk boldly, knowing that your journey carries power. Stand tall, knowing that heaven stands behind you. When you enter rooms, atmospheres shift not because of your name, but because of His name written over you. You have overcome what once seemed impossible, and now you will lead others through what nearly killed you. The mantle you carry was not given cheaply. It was forged through trials, tears, and unwavering faith. But it fits you perfectly. You wear it with grace, not pride, with humility, not fear. You are anointed to rise, and nothing, not even your past, can take that away. Chosen one, lift your eyes. You are living in the aftermath of victory. Your story is no longer about struggle, it's about strength. You have overcome, and heaven celebrates every step that brought you here. Chosen one, this is the moment where hidden faith becomes visible favor. You have walked through seasons of private pain, and now heaven is preparing to display you in public grace. What was whispered in secret will soon be shouted in testimony. Every silent tear is about to find its echo in joy. God is unveiling you not for applause, but for purpose. For years, you've lived behind the curtain of process, carrying dreams that seemed too heavy, promises that felt delayed. You endured misunderstanding, judgment, and waiting that seemed endless. Yet, through it all, you kept believing. That quiet perseverance has become the fragrance of your spirit. And now, heaven is releasing that fragrance into the world. The light that flickered within you is about to become a torch for others. The Word of God declares in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap, if we do not give up." This is your due season. Chosen one. The reaping is beginning not because of luck, but because of divine law. Seeds sown in tears will always produce a harvest in time. God is revealing your strength before those who once doubted you. Those who overlooked you will now witness what endurance in faith looks like. You're not rising to boast, you're rising to bless. Imagine a tree planted in deep soil. For years, nothing seems to grow above ground. Yet beneath the surface, roots stretch wide and strong. Then one morning, new green breaks through. That's you. The long silence wasn't death, it was depth. Heaven was fortifying your roots so that when you bloom, you won't break. You were never buried, you were planted. The stage you're stepping onto isn't built by human hands, it's divine design. God will use the very soil that once held you down to elevate you. The same voices that gossiped about your struggles will marvel at your glow. And through it all, you will know it wasn't your doing. It was His grace unfolding in time. Public favor follows private faithfulness. The moments you prayed in secret, the hours you worshipped through tears, the sacrifices no one saw, all of them are rising now like incense before heaven. God rewards what is done in secret. You will not have to fight for visibility. Your obedience will make you visible in divine timing. When you walk into this new season, remember that favor is not decoration, it's assignment. It is not to make you famous, but to make His name known. The platform you're stepping onto is sacred ground. Handle it gently. Speak with humility. Shine with grace. You are a reflection, not the source. And if this message touches something deep within your spirit, take a moment, pause, and breathe. Let gratitude fill the space that disappointment once occupied. If you feel led, like this message as a quiet amen to what heaven is doing, share it with someone still standing in their waiting season, so they might know that delay is not denial. Subscribe if you want to keep walking this divine journey together, because every message is a new window of revelation. And for those who feel a stirring beyond words, if your spirit says, "I want to help this light reach farther," then consider giving. Donate not as payment, but as participation. Think of it as planting another seed in soil that has already proven fruitful. Each offering helps these words reach more weary souls who need to hear. Your time is coming too. Every seed sown becomes another branch of hope, extending into someone else's storm. Chosen one, your visibility is not vanity, it's validation of divine process. God is displaying His craftsmanship through you. When people look at your life, they will not just see success, they will see redemption. They will see proof that God never wastes pain. That is why humility will be your crown and gratitude your robe. This new season will feel different. Opportunities will open that once felt impossible. Conversations will lead to divine connections. But remember, the same hands that lift you can hold you steady. Stay rooted in prayer. Stay anchored in love. Stay small enough for God to remain big in your story. Picture the dawn after a long night. The horizon glows, and the first rays of sunlight touch everything that waited in darkness. That's what's happening now. Light is finding you. The shadows are retreating. The time of hiding has ended. You are stepping into morning. So, as heaven reveals you to the world, walk gently, speak kindly, and shine boldly. The world doesn't need perfection, it needs your authenticity. You are the living proof that God's grace restores what was broken and beautifies what was bruised. The story of your struggle is becoming a song of hope for others. And every time you share, every time you give, every time you speak truth, you're adding another verse to that holy melody. Chosen one, you are stepping into the season of public favor after private pain. Heaven is not just blessing you, it is trusting you with influence. Carry it well, with love, with humility, and with faith that still bends but never breaks. Chosen one, not everyone who watched you fall will celebrate when you rise. Some will stand silent, some will doubt, and others will try to explain away your breakthrough. But hear this truth, your victory is not for their approval, it is for their awakening. The same ones who questioned your worth will witness what God can do with a life that refuses to quit. For a long time, you have walked among those who misread your silence as weakness. They thought your humility meant you had nothing left. They mistook your patience for passivity, not realizing heaven was simply perfecting your timing. But now, the evidence of God's hand is about to speak louder than any defense you could ever give. You won't have to prove yourself. Your fruit will do the talking. You see, the journey of the chosen is always marked by misunderstanding. Those who are spiritually blind cannot perceive the glow that heaven has placed upon your path. You were never meant to fit their mold. That's why rejection felt so painful, because you were trying to explain divine purpose to human logic. But now, God is shifting the spotlight. The very voices that dismissed you will soon see undeniable favor. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 39. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, He is God, the Lord, He is God." That same revelation is about to happen again through you. The people around you will see your transformation and know that it could only have been God. The turnaround will be so profound, so complete, that there will be no room for coincidence. Every eye that once looked down on you will look up not in worship of you, but in awe of Him. Chosen one. This is what it means when heaven says, "I will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies." The table is not revenge, it is revelation. God doesn't silence your critics with argument, He silences them with evidence. The blessing that's about to unfold in your life will testify louder than your words ever could. Your enemies will become witnesses because they have to be. They need to see that grace is greater than gossip, that favor outlasts falsehood, and that what God blesses cannot be cursed. Their watching is part of your assignment. You don't need to defend yourself when divine justice is speaking on your behalf. Every stone they threw became a step under your feet. Every word they spoke became wind beneath your wings. Every plot meant to harm you was turned into preparation. You are not rising in spite of them, you are rising because of what God built in you through their resistance. They unknowingly pushed you closer to destiny. You will soon find that you have no bitterness left, only clarity. The anger that once burned in your chest will be replaced with compassion. You'll look at those who hurt you and realize they were instruments of your refinement. You'll thank God not just for the doors He opened, but for the ones He shut in time. Chosen one. Your rise is not about proving who you are, it's about proving who He is. The favor coming upon you carries divine fingerprints. No one will be able to explain it logically. Opportunities will unfold that you didn't chase. Resources will arrive that you didn't seek. Relationships will align that you didn't force. It will be so precise, so timely, that even those who doubted you will whisper, "Surely the Lord has done this." In that moment, remember to stay humble. The crown that's being placed on your head is a symbol of service, not superiority. God exalts those who understand that favor is stewardship, not status. Use your platform to lift others, your blessing to bless others, and your testimony to lead others. That's how heaven multiplies what it gives. And as the witnesses gather around your table, may your heart stay tender. Do not gloat. Do not boast. Simply smile and let grace speak. Because when God turns things around, He doesn't just change your circumstances, He transforms your character. You are walking proof that vindication can be peaceful. The beauty of this moment is that it's not just about your vindication, it's about revelation. The people who misjudged you will come to see the God who sustained you. The same mouths that once cursed will bless. The same hearts that once envied will soften. God uses your story to draw others to His mercy. So, chosen one, walk with quiet confidence. Let your life become the sermon that words could never preach. The tables have turned, and grace has the final word. Those who watched your pain will now watch your peace, and those who doubted your calling will now witness your crown. Chosen one. There are doors in front of you that no key on earth can open. You've knocked, you've waited, you've prayed, and still they remained shut. But what you didn't realize is that they were never yours to force, they were God's to unlock. The season of waiting is ending, and the sound of divine hinges turning is near. Heaven is opening what human hands could not. You've walked long enough in corridors of uncertainty, wondering if you somehow missed your moment. But God's timing is never late, it's layered. Each delay was a design, each pause a preparation. What you saw as a closed door was heaven finishing what you couldn't yet see. Now, as your spirit matures and your heart aligns, God is releasing divine access. Chosen one. The places you were once denied are about to invite you in. The opportunities that ignored you will start seeking you. The same door that refused to move before is about to swing open with grace and authority. You won't have to knock twice, because this time, God Himself is the doorkeeper. The ancient words recorded in Revelation, chapter 3, verse 8, declare, "I have set before you an open door, which no one can shut." When heaven opens a door, no opposition can close it. You won't need to manipulate, beg, or strive. Divine doors don't respond to effort, they respond to alignment. God is not just giving you access, He's giving you ownership of new territory. You're not entering to visit, you're entering to dwell. Think of a hallway filled with locked doors. Every time you reached for a handle, it refused to turn. You wondered, am I in the wrong place? But all the while, heaven was behind the final door, preparing what was waiting on the other side. The delay wasn't rejection, it was coordination. God was aligning resources, timing, and relationships so that when the door opened, everything would already be ready for you. You are stepping into divine readiness. The waiting has purified your motives. The patience you learned has become your passport. Now you can handle what once would have crushed you. You will walk through this next door not with pride, but with peace. And everyone who sees it will know it was God, not chance, that made it possible. There's something powerful about divine doors. They don't just open for you, they open through you. When you walk into your next assignment, others will follow. Your obedience will unlock paths for those behind you. Your yes to God will become someone else's miracle. That's why the fight was so intense, because your breakthrough is generational. The enemy tried to convince you that every locked door was a sign of failure. But now you see that it was a sign of preservation. You were never being shut out. You were being held back for the right moment. You are not behind schedule. You are perfectly positioned. The steps you thought were wasted have been leading you here all along. Chosen one, do not be afraid to walk through what opens next. The threshold may look intimidating, but it leads to expansion. You'll find yourself in rooms you once prayed for, speaking words you once only dreamed of saying, carrying peace into places that once rejected you. This is not arrogance, it's appointment. You were meant to be here. And when that door opens, don't rush through it. Pause, breathe, whisper gratitude. Let heaven hear your thankfulness before your footsteps echo through new halls. Gratitude is the currency that keeps doors open. Pride closes what prayer opened. But humility multiplies access. You might not see it yet, but heaven has already placed your name on the entrance. It's your door, tailored for your purpose, timed for your readiness, sealed with divine intention. No one else can walk through it because no one else has your calling. As you feel this truth resonating within you, as faith stirs and you sense the nearness of new beginnings, let your spirit respond in agreement. Comment below the prophetic number 444, a sign of divine alignment, stability, and doors opening by the hand of God. When you type that number, you're declaring, Lord, I step into alignment. I trust your timing. I receive what you've prepared for me. It's not superstition, it's surrender. It's you saying, I'm ready. God, open what no man can shut. These doors will not lead you to chaos, but to clarity. They won't bring confusion, but confirmation. And when they open, you'll realize why all the others had to stay closed. The wrong doors would have drained you. The right one will sustain you. So get ready. Chosen one. The sound you're about to hear in your spirit is the click of divine locks releasing. Every place you've been denied will become the very place of your destiny. You're stepping through not as the same person who knocked, but as the one who's been transformed by waiting. Heaven is not just granting you access, it's giving you authority to open doors for others. You are a carrier of keys now, and wherever you go, atmospheres will respond, because divine alignment always carries divine authority. Chosen one. You have been walking slowly for a reason. The pace of your journey was never punishment, it was precision. God was not withholding progress, He was synchronizing it. There are moments when heaven deliberately slows the rhythm of your life so that every divine piece falls into perfect place. Now, that alignment is complete. Acceleration is about to begin. Acceleration is not chaos. It is not rushing through life in frantic movement. It is the supernatural speed of purpose, the moment when everything you've prayed for, waited for, and believed for begins to unfold at once. It's the experience of walking into divine timing after years of faithful sowing. What once took years will now take days. What once seemed impossible will suddenly happen naturally. You will sense it before you see it. There will be a stirring in your spirit, a sudden lightness, a realization that things are finally starting to move. Emails that were ignored will receive responses. Opportunities that seemed dead will breathe again. Conversations will unfold that connect you to your next assignment. You'll wonder how it all came together so fast. And heaven will whisper, "This is the redemption of time." The Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 16, "Redeeming the time, because the days are evil." You see, chosen one, God does not simply restore what was lost, He redeems what was wasted. Every year you thought you lost to confusion, delay, or pain is being folded into your acceleration. He compresses what should have taken a lifetime into a single season. The pace of heaven is increasing, and you are being carried by it. This acceleration is not about achieving more, it's about becoming more. The version of you that endured the storm is ready to run. You've been equipped through waiting, strengthened by stillness, refined by struggle. The process was necessary because the speed that's coming next requires stability. God won't let acceleration destroy you. He'll make sure you're anchored enough to handle it. Think of a bow and arrow. The further the arrow is pulled back, the faster and farther it flies when released. The tension you felt, the stretching that almost broke you, those were the pullbacks. Now the release is near. The greater the pull, the greater the reach. You were not being delayed, you were being prepared for distance. And when acceleration begins, it will not be random, it will be orchestrated. Divine connections, assignments, and opportunities will flow together like rivers converging into one mighty current. What used to feel like fragmented moments will suddenly make sense. Every lesson will link to purpose. Every detour will reveal direction. Every delay will prove to be design. But remember, acceleration is not about speed alone, it's about synchronization. When your heart beats in rhythm with heaven, you move at the pace of grace. You will no longer chase doors, they will open at your arrival. You will no longer force relationships, they will align naturally. You won't have to strive to stay relevant, favor will keep you radiant. Chosen one. Acceleration does not mean exhaustion. The world hurries, heaven harmonizes. The pace of grace will allow you to accomplish more with less strain. You'll notice how tasks that once drained you will now flow easily. Words will come effortlessly. Provision will appear unexpectedly. And peace will accompany every step. That's how you'll know it's God. It will feel light, not heavy. The places that once rejected you will now request you. The people who once doubted you will now honor you. You won't have to shout your worth. Heaven will echo it. You will become the answer to prayers others have been praying. A vessel of divine timing walking among the weary. Acceleration also means alignment, being in the right place at the right time with the right heart. You will not miss it this time. The mistakes of the past were not failure, they were training. You've learned discernment through disappointment, humility through heartbreak, wisdom through waiting. Now you will navigate opportunities with maturity, moving in sync with heaven's rhythm. As the pace increases, don't forget the posture of gratitude. Each new door is not a reward for effort, but a recognition of endurance. You trusted when nothing worked. And now, heaven trusts you with more. Stay humble, stay prayerful, and keep your gaze steady on the one who leads. You will soon feel life moving around you like wind in motion. Don't panic, it's not instability. It's acceleration. God is redeeming time, aligning seasons, and orchestrating encounters. Everything that seemed dormant is awakening, and everything that was scattered is converging. You are entering divine momentum, the moment when heaven's calendar meets your readiness. So, chosen one, walk boldly but calmly. Do not fear the pace. You are not running alone. Grace is running with you. The steps of the righteous are ordered, not rushed. You are walking in a rhythm written before time began, and every stride brings you closer to fulfillment. This is your season of acceleration and alignment, where time bends to purpose, where heaven restores what was stolen, and where your obedience meets opportunity. You have waited well. Now you will move quickly. Chosen one, there are moments when the fire comes not to destroy you, but to crown you. The flames that once frightened you are now revealing what you're made of. This is the mystery of divine refinement. Only through the heat do you discover your true worth. Every trial, every heartbreak, every tear has been part of your coronation. You have been crowned in the fire. At first, you may have thought the blaze was punishment. Everything familiar was stripped away, and the smoke of uncertainty clouded your vision. But deep within those flames, heaven was working. The fire that felt like chaos was actually forging your crown. You were not being burned, you were being purified. The prophet Zechariah wrote in the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 9, "I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them." Chosen one. This fire was not random. It was precise, intentional, and measured by divine mercy. God never allows the flame to consume, only to cleanse. He watched every spark, guarded every breath, and ensured that not even the smell of smoke would cling to you when it was over. You have walked through what others would not have survived, and you have emerged radiant. Think about how gold is formed. It doesn't shine when first mined. It carries dirt, rock, and impurities. Only when it faces the furnace does it reveal its brilliance. That's you. The seasons that broke you were simply revealing what was hidden inside: strength, resilience, faith that cannot be faked. You went in trembling, but you are coming out shining. In the fire, you learned surrender. You stopped asking why me and started whispering, refine me. You discovered peace in surrender, beauty in brokenness, and power in patience. You no longer fight for control because you understand now what God refines. He also redeems. The fire doesn't end in ashes, it ends in authority. There's something sacred about being chosen for the fire. Not everyone is trusted with it. God only refines those he intends to reveal. You were chosen to carry weight, and that weight required heat. The fire stripped you of what was temporary, so that only what was eternal could remain. Pride melted, fear evaporated, and faith became your only language. Every time you thought you couldn't endure another wave of pain, grace whispered, just one more degree. And though you trembled, you endured. That endurance became the metal of your crown. You are now walking proof that pressure can polish and pain can purify. You carry the kind of beauty that doesn't fade, it's forged. Chosen one. Look at your scars. They are no longer signs of loss. They are symbols of loyalty, evidence that you stayed when others ran, that you believed when others doubted, that you trusted when everything burned. Those scars gleam like jewels in your crown. Heaven looks upon them not with pity, but with pride. The fire also revealed who truly belonged in your story. Some walked away when the heat rose, unable to stand beside you in refining seasons. Do not resent them. Fire always separates the real from the false. What remains after the flames is pure, loyal, unshakable. God removed what could not survive where you're going. Now that you've come through the flames, you carry authority over them. The next time fire approaches your path, you won't panic. You'll remember you've already been through worse and lived. You've become immune to fear because you've seen how God preserves even in burning places. That's why you'll be able to guide others through their own flames with compassion and confidence. Chosen one. The crown you wear now is invisible to the world, but undeniable in the spirit. It glows with the reflection of every trial you've endured. It carries the oil of endurance, the light of understanding, and the fragrance of faithfulness. You were not merely tested, you were trusted. And though this refining fire may have cost you much, it has returned something greater: purity of purpose. You no longer chase what glitters, you value what glows. You no longer crave approval, you crave alignment. The flame taught you that identity isn't found in what burns away, but in what remains standing. So walk with grace, crowned not by circumstance, but by character. You are a living monument of what divine fire can produce: a vessel of resilience, a bearer of wisdom, a reflection of the holy flame. And when others see your calm in chaos, your peace in pressure, your joy in the aftermath, they will know this one has walked through fire and found glory. The crown you wear now is not fragile gold, it's refined strength. It cannot be tarnished, stolen, or broken. It is yours forever, forged by heaven's hand and sealed in divine fire. And as you move forward, light will follow your steps. For those who have walked through flames carry the glow of eternity. Chosen one, rise. You've been through enough darkness to recognize dawn when it breaks. This is the hour when heaven whispers, stand tall. It's time. You've spent years learning endurance, forgiveness, and trust. Now comes the part where you walk it out. The valley has finished its lesson, and the mountain is calling your name. You are not who you were when the storm began. The fear that once chained your voice has been shattered. The doubt that once dimmed your light has dissolved. You are stronger, wiser, softer in spirit, yet sharper in discernment. What once terrified you now trembles before you. This is the season when heaven commissions you to rise not timidly, but triumphantly. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Micah, chapter 7, verse 8, "Do not gloat over me, my enemy. Though I have fallen, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light." You are no longer waiting for light. You are the light. Every battle you endured has charged your spirit with holy fire. You carry illumination into places that forgot how to hope. When you walk into a room, atmospheres shift. You don't need to announce your arrival. Peace does it for you. The world is heavy, but you were born for this moment. You are heaven's response to despair. Every challenge you survived prepared you for someone else's deliverance. There are people waiting to hear the words that only your experience can carry. When you speak, pain listens. When you pray, darkness retreats. That is the authority of the risen ones, chosen one. I know you feel the trembling under your feet. It's not fear, it's power awakening. You are standing on new ground, the kind you prayed for but never imagined you'd reach. The road ahead won't be without obstacles, but this time, you won't face them the same way. You're not crawling, you're climbing. You're not begging for victory, you're walking in it. Imagine a phoenix emerging from ashes. Its wings are singed but stronger. Its flight more certain than ever. That's you. The ashes of old pain are now the soil of new beginnings. You were buried once. But only seeds get buried, and seeds are destined to rise. You've become the living definition of restoration. As you step into this new dawn, remember the posture of humility. Let gratitude be the rhythm of your stride. You didn't reach this height alone, He carried you. You didn't find the path, He lit it. Your success is sacred because it carries His fingerprints. And now, as you listen to these words, if something inside you stirs, take a small, intentional act. Like this message, if it resonates with the heartbeat of your journey, every like is a silent amen. A way of saying, "Yes, Lord, I receive this rising." Share it so that someone else, weary from their valley, might remember that dawn still comes. If you've found strength through these words, subscribe to stay connected, not for numbers, not for noise, but for community, so we can walk together as chosen ones, light bearers in a dim world. Each message is another flame, and together we become a wildfire of faith spreading across souls that have grown cold. And for those who feel the gentle nudge of generosity, consider sowing a seed. Donate not from obligation, but from overflow. Think of it like planting another lantern along the path for someone who's still in darkness. Every act of giving fuels the message, allowing it to reach hearts across oceans and time zones. When you give, you are not just supporting words, you are extending light. Chosen one. You are part of something bigger. You are not just a listener, you are a carrier. These words are not merely to inspire you, they are meant to ignite you. You are heaven's torchbearer, chosen to bring warmth where there is cold, and clarity where there is confusion. When you rise, others will see what rising looks like. And when you leave your comment below, write these simple words: "I choose my crown." It's not just a phrase, it's a declaration. It means, I refuse to live like I'm defeated. I embrace who God says I am. When you type it, you're not just participating, you're prophesying. You're agreeing with heaven's assessment of you, chosen, refined, ready. Your crown is not made of gold or jewels, it's made of endurance, faith, and grace. You earned it through perseverance and kept it through humility. Wear it with peace. Walk with quiet power. Let others see your strength, but hear your gentleness. That balance is the mark of the true chosen. Beloved, the world needs your rising, not loud, not boastful, but steady and luminous. You will lead not with noise, but with presence. Your story will be the sermon others read when they've lost hope in words. So, rise with courage, shine with love, and let your every step say, I am still here, and God is not finished. This is your divine awakening, your sacred ascent. You are walking into wholeness, crowned in compassion, radiant with grace. Heaven smiles as you move forward, not just as a survivor, but as a symbol of what faith can do. Chosen one, you are entering the outpouring. This is the moment when everything you've sown in faith begins to overflow in grace. You have waited through drought, endured through silence, believed through contradiction, and now the heavens are opening. The season that once felt dry is about to burst with living water. At first, it may come quietly, a conversation that restores hope, an opportunity that breathes life, a peace that floods your heart without warning. But as time unfolds, you will realize this is not coincidence. It is heaven's response to your endurance. The outpouring is not just coming to you, it is flowing through you. When the rain of blessing begins to fall, it never lands where there was no preparation. God has been digging reservoirs in your heart, deepening your capacity to hold what's about to come. Every heartbreak hollowed a new space for grace. Every disappointment carved a channel for divine flow. You thought the pain was emptying you, but it was actually expanding you. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 7, verse 38, "Whoever believes in me, as Scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them." Chosen one, that river is stirring within you now. It's not a trickle, it's a current. It moves through your words, your presence, your prayers. You don't just carry blessings, you carry overflow. Wherever you go, dryness will disappear. People will find refreshment in your company because heaven's rain follows your obedience. The outpouring of God does not always look like material abundance. Sometimes it comes as peace that surpasses understanding, as laughter after long silence, as clarity where confusion used to live. You may not even realize how much has changed until you notice that the things that used to break you no longer move you. That's what overflow feels like, stability in places that once shook. You have become a vessel of divine circulation. What God pours into you doesn't stay trapped, it overflows into those around you. The love that once felt lost in you will now spill over into others who have forgotten how to believe. The forgiveness that healed you will now heal those who wounded you. The mercy that restored you will now flow from your voice like fresh water. Think of yourself as a riverbed that endured seasons of drought. The cracks in your surface looked like failure, but they became channels. Now, when the rain comes, those same cracks Allow the flow to reach deeper than ever before. The pain didn't ruin you, it prepared you for depth. And this time, the outpouring will not pass quickly. It will not come in short bursts of relief, but as a continuous current of divine provision. God is not giving you temporary rain. He's transforming your landscape into a well-watered garden. The very areas that once felt barren will bloom again. Chosen one. Be careful not to mistake the overflow for coincidence. Recognize it for what it is, a divine response to long obedience. Heaven does not forget those who keep showing up in faith. The prayers that felt buried in silence were never lost. They were gathering like clouds, waiting for the right moment to release rain. Now that rain is falling, restoration is flowing where ruin once stood. You will notice reconciliation where there was bitterness, laughter where there was grief, vision where there was confusion. The river of God does not visit, it inhabits. Once it begins to flow, it transforms everything it touches. The outpouring is also a calling. To receive this flow is to carry it responsibly. You are not blessed to boast. You are blessed to build. What God gives you now is meant to overflow into those still standing in drought. The abundance in your life is not an end, it's a beginning of shared miracles. When the flow begins, stay grounded. Rain without roots leads to floods. Let humility be your soil. Let gratitude be your anchor. The more you thank Him, the stronger your capacity becomes. Overflow is not just about receiving, it's about becoming a channel wide enough for heaven's generosity to move through. The river that flows from your spirit will never run dry, because its source is eternal. God doesn't pour out so that you can contain, He pours out so that you can continue. That's why this blessing will not fade with seasons. It will renew itself daily, like morning dew, refreshing not only you but everyone near you. Chosen one. Breathe in this truth. You have entered the outpouring. Every drop of pain has been transformed into a wave of purpose. Every wound has become a well. You are no longer surviving off yesterday's rain. You are living under an open heaven. The drought is over, and the river is rising. Chosen one. This is the fulfillment of the promise. The long road, the quiet tears, the unexplainable detours, all of it was leading here. You have reached the season that heaven whispered about when everything looked impossible. The promise that once felt distant is now standing before you, tangible and undeniable. You have come full circle, and what once hurt to remember will now bring you to worship. You may not recognize it at first, because fulfillment rarely arrives in the form we imagined. It doesn't always shout, sometimes it simply rests. Like peace settling into the bones after a long storm. You'll notice it in the stillness of your heart, in how you no longer strive, how you no longer chase, how you can finally breathe without fear of losing what God gave you. That's when you'll know the promise has arrived. It brings rest, not rush. You have waited well. You've held on through contradictions, through nights when faith felt like folly, through moments when you thought the story was over. But God never forgets His word. What He promised, He performs. Even when you doubted, He stayed faithful. The timeline of heaven may have stretched your patience, but it never broke His covenant, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In the book of Joshua, chapter 21, verse 45, not one of all the Lord's good promises to Israel failed. Every one was fulfilled. Chosen one. That verse now breathes over your life. every word he spoke, every vision he showed, every whisper that stirred your spirit, it's coming to pass. You were not misled. The waiting was proof that you were being trusted with something eternal. Now, heaven is releasing what you carried in your spirit for so long. Fulfillment does not mean ease, it means arrival. It is the moment the seed becomes fruit. The blueprint becomes building. The prophecy becomes presence. And though you've changed along the way, that's exactly what makes you ready. The promise was never meant for the version of you who started it, was meant for the one who endured. Think of how a sculptor works. He begins with rough stone, shaping, chiseling, removing excess. The sculpture does not complain, it simply endures the process. That was you, shaped by time, carved by pressure, refined by surrender. And now the masterpiece is revealed. The form is complete. Not because the stone resisted the chisel, but because it yielded to it. The beauty of fulfillment is quiet strength. You no longer need to convince anyone of what God said, you simply are the evidence. Your life becomes the testimony. Your peace becomes the proof. Those who once questioned your faith will see that patience was never wasted. The same people who thought your silence meant defeat will see that silence was strategy. You will notice something else. The bitterness that once lingered in your heart will fade. You'll realize you don't even want revenge, validation, or applause. All you want is to stay in the presence that carried you here. That's what fulfillment does. It cleanses desire. It removes the need to prove and replaces it with gratitude. Chosen one. This promise carries weight because it was born from waiting. You are not stepping into convenience. You are stepping into covenant. Every fulfilled word is an invitation to deeper responsibility. The blessing you now hold is sacred. It must be stewarded with humility. Remember, what you've been given is not a finish line. It's a foundation for what's next. In this moment, let peace settle over you. You don't have to hurry anymore. The striving that once drove, you can now rest. You've seen that God doesn't forget his own. Every unseen act of faith, every quiet prayer, every day you chose to keep believing it all, built the bridge to this moment. The fulfillment of the promise doesn't erase the journey, it redeems it. You'll look back and see divine fingerprints on every step, the rejections that redirected, the losses that lightened your load, the storms that strengthened your stance. What once felt cruel now looks like care. What once hurt now feels holy. And though you have reached this point, the story isn't over, it's transforming. Fulfillment is the doorway to new purpose. God never stops unfolding glory. The promise that arrived today will become the seed of tomorrow's vision. You will keep growing, keep learning, keep carrying light. Because the fulfilled ones become carriers of fresh fire. Chosen one, walk gently now. You carry the fragrance of completion, the calm of faith proven true. Let your gratitude speak louder than your celebration. Let your peace preach louder than your words. This is not a victory you shout about, it's one you live in. You have crossed the threshold. You are standing in the place you once only dreamed of. Not because of luck, not because of strength, but because mercy refused to let you go. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment was heaven's choreography to bring you here. Exactly when your spirit was ready to receive it. Lift your eyes one more time. Chosen one, look around at what grace has built. The ashes have become beauty. The valley has become vision. The waiting room has become the throne room. You are home in purpose. The promise has arrived. The struggle has ended. Glory has begun. Chosen one, take a deep breath. Let these final words rest gently on your heart. You have reached the end of this journey, but truly, it is only the beginning. The story that unfolded through every section was never just about endurance or pain. It was about transformation. You were not merely walking through struggle, you were walking toward revelation. And now, here you stand, renewed, restored, radiant. Heaven smiles upon you. The same hands that carried you through fire now crown you with peace. Everything that once broke you has become the material of your strength. You have become a vessel of divine resilience, a living testimony that faith never fails when placed in faithful hands. If these words have touched your spirit, if you've seen yourself reflected in the light of this message, take a moment to let gratitude rise. Like this message as an act of remembrance, a quiet thank you to heaven for bringing you through. Share it so that someone still wandering in the shadows might find their way back to hope through you. And if you desire to walk this path further, subscribe to stay connected. Together, we will keep building a sanctuary of words where faith and healing meet, where the weary find strength again. Leave a comment below with what this message stirred in your heart. One word, one sentence, one flame of truth. Your story matters. Your voice carries light. You are not alone. Chosen one. You are part of a growing chorus of souls awakening to divine purpose. Keep walking. Keep believing. Keep shining. Heaven isn't finished with you. It's only just beginning.